check 1 2. Check 1 2 3 1 2 3. Check 1 2 3 1 2 3. Check 1 2 3. Check 1 2 3. Check 1 2 3. Check one. I love Gojo. Check 1 2. Testing. Check. Testing. Check. What? What's up? Oh, go ahead, coach. Go ahead. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Testing. Check mic 1 2 1 2. Testing mic 1 2 3 1 2 3. Check 1 2 testing mic 1 2 3 1 2 3. Check testing check 1 2 1 2. Check testing 1 2 1 2. Check 1 2 1 2 1 2. And asynchronous throws everything off. And so I went to go remind you, and then I had to message Amanda like, "Hey, is it gonna be open? If not, I can be in the student center." She's like, "No, I'm gonna be there." She's gonna be here anyway because Cammy has practice. Yeah. So catch your breath. Someone's boss. Yeah. No, they're very strict. Yeah, they're very strict about it. I know. Yeah. It sounds tough. Yeah. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Going on after this commercial.
Let me tell my daughter because.
Good morning, everybody. Back for another episode of Coffee with Coach O live in the Bloodhound Cafe on a Monday morning. This is season 3, episode 3, August 25th. I'm Kevin. That's Coach O. Good morning, Coach.
Morning.
A little bit of a hectic morning there. I know we got just an asynchronous morning this morning for the kids. So Coach O, credit to her. She just wrapped up practice just right now, shortly after 10. She sprinted this way to meet me here for the show, and Amanda accommodating us, coming in and opening up the doors here at the cafe. So we're a bit behind schedule again, just because of the asynchronous. The kids, I was just with you in the dome about 10 minutes ago. They just wrapped up practice. So, Coach, good morning. You caught your breath?
I think so.
Just a little bit?
Just a little bit.
It's certainly a Monday morning for sure. A unique Monday morning because, we played a match last week on a Monday. The game got moved up because of the open house. That went well for us. And then since then, it's just been a lot of practice and a lot of rest for this team. So starting off a week ago today, we had our first home match. You and I were excited to be back home. The kids were. It was a win in straight sets against Brownsville Jubilee. Just a nice bounce back game after what was the Donna tournament and lost to San Benito. So just let's recap that Monday win, Coach, and just what you see from your team.
I saw they regrouped pretty good about coming back from that San Benito loss. They were kind of down and stuff like that, and I mean they knew we just didn't play well. I think the outcome could have been different, against San Benito, but there was just basic things that we just didn't do well, and then we came back with Jubilee, and we just pretty much did everything that we needed to do. We talked about the basics, the pass and the serve, and then once we get that, then you can run any kind of offense off of that. And I thought they played pretty well.
Yeah, go ahead. I think the energy was really good.
Was definitely.
I think the kids came out strong. Usually we've seen the trend where we kind of come out slow out of the gates, but I think they looked a lot better. I think they were eager to just kind of, one, get on their home court, and two, just kind of get that sour taste out of their mouth.
Yeah, definitely. Because it was tough. San Benito is a great team, but we just didn't play. And there was just a bunch of little things that didn't go our way, with us being stuck in a certain rotation, not being able to get out of that rotation, and just our chemistry on the court wasn't there. It was like it was 6 people, and it just doesn't. It's not conducive to winning points and then winning a set and winning a match. So I think we got that out of our system, and I think we're, moving forward with all of that. So.
Absolutely. And then when you can get your first sweep in a true straight sets, I know you had some sweeps in the tournament, but a true, winning 3 sets consecutively, I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, and I didn't even realize what the scores were until I saw the book, and I was like, oh my, I don't think I think third set, I think we rotated 3 times maybe, so we didn't even go all the way around, which is a great thing. Like I tell them, because sometimes I would say I didn't even get to serve in the game, and I'll look at the book and I'm like, well, it's because we didn't rotate for you to serve. Yeah, but that's not fair. And I said, hey, it's always a great thing to be able to finish. Yeah, I want everybody to serve, but if you can do the job and get the win without having to go all the way around,
right. For sure. I think that third set was 25-4, something like that.
I looked at it.
Yeah, and another thing too is that I was talking with some family over the weekend on how the season was going, and I said, well, the dome's very unique. And then when I told them that there was no AC, they're like, what do you mean there's no AC? I'm like, no, there's literally no AC. So I had to explain to them what the dome looked like. And I said, when teams, I always joke that, when Sachs or when teams not from here come to the dome for the first time, they show up in their hoodies. Did I tell you this? They show up in their.
No, you didn't tell me.
So I think it's
but
just,
I've seen it. So.
Yeah, they show up in their hoodies and their sweatpants, and I'm like, just give it 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, the kid's like, oh my gosh, there's no AC in here. But you see that effect, where our kids are just, they're just used to playing in the dome.
Well, they were acclimated.
Mm-hmm.
I was at a 50th reunion event last night at Cobbleheads. I don't know if you've ever been there. Restaurant.
I have this summer.
Indoors, outdoors.
Yep.
So there was a group playing, and so I was outside for a little while, and then I came in, and a bunch of people came in, and they were like, "Oh my God, it's so hot! Like I'm sweating like crazy," and I was like. They're like, aren't you like? And I said, no, I'm used to it. They're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, I work in a non-air conditioned gym.
Yep.
And they were like, what?
Yep.
And then somebody said, yeah, St. Joe. And I was like, yeah, that's us.
Absolutely.
So
yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, and you see that, I thought that kind of had a little bit of a factor in the game where the Jubilee kids just were not used to it.
Definitely. And even though they were at the scrimmage, that first scrimmage,
right.
And they already knew because they had been here last year, but knowing it and being in it and having to play in it, it's different. Yeah,
right.
It's totally different. So
absolutely. We took those first two sets and like I said, all three were convincing fashion, but I think we saw a lot of the offense, a lot of the things. Gali didn't play in that match, but it also just shows the depth of this team. Like with Sienna and Regina Martinez, all those girls in the front. I thought they did a really good job.
Yeah, they did. They meshed well. And I mean, Gali not being on the court, that's somebody that's usually there.
Right.
And whoever it was that I put in, because I put in different people, they all came in and were able to, form that cohesive bond on the court to where everything flowed, I think the second set we had a really, really long rally.
Yes, I was going to get to that, yes.
Yeah. And that was crazy.
Well, I had to ask, for me, I thought Valeria Puig, she played extremely well.
She did very well.
And if we're talking about the same rally, it's the pancake that she got. Is it that same rally?
Yes.
That pancake where she got and the ball stayed up and we wound up getting the kill, I think, on the right side.
Yeah.
That was a pretty impressive rally.
Yeah, it was.
For us.
And she's pretty well rounded. She serves well. She plays good defense. She hits well. This morning she had a rough time. After all the weights and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, she definitely. That was a great dig. It was a great dig that she had, but it was that ball went back and forth. It had to have crossed at least 6 times.
At least, yeah.
At least 6 times before a point was finally scored.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't even remember how we scored the point, but
I think someone they got a kill. I think on the right side.
Overpass.
Yeah.
Yeah, overpass kill.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, I mean, that rally was good, and to see someone like Valeria have a big game. I talked with Olivia after the game. As a senior. Her talking about her first time playing in the dome. So I know the seniors are really excited. So really just all in all was kind of just our first match, hopefully first of many, where we saw everything kind of come into form. I know it's still early in the season, but certainly a good way to just kind of flip the page. Seeing girls like Puig step up, I don't think Melly got some time in there as well, and Sky. So, we're starting to see all the other pieces kind of really just come together.
Yeah, I think that match, I kind of used that match to try to get different people in that combination of the Sienna and Regina and Maya, et cetera, and I just wanted to see and I do it in practice. I switch them around, I move them around, I have them do both sides. If Sienna's setting on one side and they're on Sienna's side, then I'll switch the setters and. Because they got to learn to set to everybody. And so I wanted to see, I always want to see who can perform.
Right.
In a tight situation, in a situation where you have to score, can you be that, player that is going to, make it happen?
Right.
And I saw just about everybody that was in there, was able to, contribute in one way or another.
Yep. And Maya too, as a freshman, Olivia gave her a shout out post game that she's stepped up a lot as a freshman. Early in the year she's shown some flashes.
Yeah, she's pretty smart player. I think that helps her a lot.
Yep.
And she serves really well. She's got good hands, and I think she's pretty much shown that she can be out there with the older girls.
Right.
Gali was in that situation last year, and so everybody goes, oh, she's a freshman. She's probably not going to play at all. And then Gali played all the time, and
yep.
Maya, for the most part, that's her job. That's her role. She's going to be a setter, unless I might try her on defense too, because she's a pretty good defensive player. She's a great passer.
Right.
So I was gonna do it at the tournament, and then I changed my mind. I was gonna do it in 70.
Yeah.
The home game also, and then I said no, never mind, just set.
Yep.
So, but yeah, I think if they just work hard, I think the main thing, we talked about it right now at the end of practice, is the communication, even just the simple calling the ball, because their peripheral vision. They see somebody coming, and so they back off, and then the ball drops. And that's what happened right now at the end of practice, and they ended up getting a penalty. But, I tell them it's not call the ball when the ball is already leaving your arms. You gotta commit. That ball's coming in your direction. You're already committed if you're calling the ball. But if you're not, then there's always that hesitancy. So I think the little things like that, I think they think, I'm not doing it here, but I'll do it in the game. And I tell them, how you practice is how you play. So if you practice like that, those things are going to happen in a game.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, so the team headed in the right direction. So again, there was a match last Monday, a week ago today, not your traditional Tuesday, and then we went into the second half of the week. There were no games.
Right.
So the team has had a week off from a match. So what was the rest of the week like for you guys? I know you said you kind of wanted to scale back a little bit to just kind of give the kids some rest.
we focused on some stuff, and we focused on defense mainly. Because offense is there. You've seen it.
Yep.
You see how many hitters there are and how well they can hit. But I think our defensive end of the game is still not where it needs to be. Of course, we just started the season. But at the same time, we got to be able to dig a ball. We got to be able to block a ball. And, I tell them it's not just blocking, getting a touch. It's what kind of touch are you getting? If you're getting the touch that does this and this, that's a point for the other team. If you're getting a touch that does this and this, where somebody can come get it, now, that's a better touch. Because I always tell them, get a touch, but get a good touch, a playable ball. And so we worked on that. I think Wednesday and Thursday we worked on that, and then we worked on it again this morning. And just the coverage. We set the ball and we watch, oh, what a pretty set. And that one person that doesn't go, and the other blocker on the other end, on the other side of the net, puts that ball straight down where we should have been, and it would have been a playable ball. It's the little things.
Right.
And I tell them, it's the little things that are going to get you.
Right.
Or it's the little things that are going to get you the point, to get you the set, to get you a match.
Right.
So.
For sure. And I know the team's, for the most part rested.
Yeah,
Because I know it was 2 days, scrimmage, match in Roma. I mean, mind you, the scrimmages were in Valley View.
Yeah.
Come back, turn around, go to Roma, come back, and then you had the tournament. In Donna, Friday, Saturday. Yeah. So these kids had been going at it. So probably a good time for an early bye week.
Yeah, and I had actually, I tried to fill it. Fill the Saturday, and I kept going back and forth, and then I heard SATs and this and that, and I finally said, you know what, let's just I let the coach know, and I said, there's too many things going on this weekend. SATs and whatever other stuff was going on, and I suggested let's just not, So they had the weekend off. I had the weekend off.
Good, yep. Yeah, just a little small recharge.
I finally had my housewarming.
Yes, congratulations. How'd that go? It went well?
I went well, but half the people didn't show up. I had so much food left over. I didn't even know what to do with that food. I was like, take food. Please take food, take food. And it was good food. It was from Cobblehead, so.
That's good.
But yeah, it went well. We had fun. The people that were there had fun.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I felt like they were well rested, and I told them, yes, we're going hard in the weight room today, but let's just get used to it.
Right.
Because no matter what, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
We can't say, oh, we don't want to do this. It's gonna happen. So, a couple of them were kind of like, oh my God, I can't feel my legs, and so I made them run like half, like not even a whole lap, run half to the bleachers and then run back over here, just to kind of get it. And then of course we went into the gym. So I think that's gonna kind of get rid of some of that, that heavy feeling from the weight room. But
right.
I think if they didn't go crazy and go to the island and stay up all night and go dancing and go swimming every single day, they should be rested.
Yeah.
And I could kind of tell, for the most part. Most of them were pretty good in the weight room, They weren't like really sluggish or really dragging.
Right.
So
and also a shout out to the junior varsity. We didn't get to touch up on them last week. They won their match in Roma in 3 sets, and then they won their second match last week. So yeah, so there's a lot of depth there.
Yeah, there is.
Pretty good.
There is. We have, I think, upperclassmen. I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 or 6, and then the rest are freshmen. New freshmen. So there's a good mix there already.
Yep.
That we talked about that 8th grade group last year coming in. With, Kendall and Jimena and Mia.
Yep.
All of those, Annette, all of those girls. There's a lot of potential there.
Right.
So, we've scheduled freshman, JV, and varsity matches with even with some district matches. So I'm kind of. Last night I was looking at it and I was going, but we're gonna do it. See what happens.
So it's a good problem to have.
It's a good problem to have
when you have to find extra to make an extra team.
Yeah, it's a good problem. I mean, we have first time in history 7 teams. 7.
Wow.
Not 6, 7.
Right. And that was my next what we're going to talk about next is the junior high is just getting underway, and I know they have their first matches this week, so for the young kids they're excited.
So we kind of split them up on Friday, and it was kind of a rush thing. I usually take my time doing that, and of course I got new coaches, and I haven't had a chance to be in there with them, but we did split them up, and the Wednesday the 7th grade A team will be at Manzano, and the 8th grade A team will be at Vela, and it's a mini tournament. I think it's Manzano, Vela, St. Joe, and Port Isabel, I believe, will be playing. So they'll get 3 good matches in there.
Okay.
It's exciting. I mean,
sure.
I'm excited to go watch them play. But yeah, there are 40. I think there's 43 middle school kids in that other gym.
Wow.
So yeah,
some good numbers.
And it's a great problem to have. But I don't know if you saw the video or if you were in that gym when I had everybody.
I
in
took
Memorial
a peek.
Gym.
Yeah.
That
a lot of kids.
Yeah. That was.
That's good though. The program's growing.
Definitely.
It's thriving, and
Definitely.
in these last couple of years, they see, the Delianis of the world, the Carminas, and they see them come through, and they want to be just like them. And last year I was talking with Coach Tino in one of our shows that, and he didn't know this story, but we were at a 7th grade game last year in San Benito. It might have been the year before. I don't remember, but for sure it was a 7th grade game. And, these kids are real little, right, in the football pads, and they're kind of waddling everywhere. And one of the kids was wearing the number 84. And he's like, I'm wearing 84. And he had his gloves on. He goes, I'm going to be just like Claudio. And he was putting his gloves on, and that's why he was wearing number 84. And then another kid was like, well, I'm going to wear 76 so I can be like Diego. So,
and
so
they're like this big.
they're like they're like this tall, and their helmets are like bobbleheads. But the varsity kids, they some of them might not realize that they're already being looked at, from the junior high, especially because here at St. Joe, you start in 7th and 8th grade, so they see them in the hallways, and they see them at practice. So that's how your program is thrives, and you get more kids that want to be a part of it.
Yeah, and that's why I tell the older girls, I tell the upperclassmen, juniors and seniors, but seniors, mainly, I'm like, you're it. Like these kids need to be looking up to you, should be looking up to you, are looking up to you. So, what kind of an example are you setting for them? You want it to be like, if this kid wants to be like you, that means there's the positive there. So that's really important. But definitely, the kids, the little kids are so cool.
Yeah, like, and it's funny because they get so starstruck.
Yeah.
They get starstruck, like, oh my gosh, no, that's Carmina, or that's Diego or Claudio, or even like right now with Gavin, all the younger kids like, oh, that's Gavin. I'm like, yeah, it's Gavin, but because he's the quarterback and he's a senior or whatever. But it's good to see the kids, look up to the upperclassmen here at school. We're gonna take our first break. When we come back, the Lady Bloodhounds have a match tomorrow at home against San Perlita, and then they will hit the road down 48, and they will take on Port Isabel in the Port Isabel tournament. They're going to be in Pool 6. We'll break down that pool and much more when we come back. This is Coffee with Coach O. Should we say that? And Knox is like, I don't think we want to say that on here. Like that we're betting on. I was like, let's not say that, guys. But it was in the back of his head, and Knox was like, it's one touchdown, it's two touchdowns. I was like, uh-oh. Okay, so he was telling me about the chat, yeah. Yeah. And then which was it? Jojo or Alfonso? They're like, Knox, stop talking. They're like, I was like, no, you're doing good. Like I thought Knox did really, really well for his first time. Coming back after this. Welcome back to Coffee with Coach O. I'm Kevin. That's Coach O on a Monday morning in the Bloodhound Cafe, as always. So the Lady Bloodhounds taking in an early bye this past weekend. Tomorrow it's a match day against San Perlita, and then they will head down to Port Isabel to be a part of the Port Isabel tournament. So San Perlita, if you don't know, you're going on 77 and 186. You take a right. like you're going east to Port Mansfield and you see a blinking light, the one blinking light, you take a left and San Perlita's right there.
If you blink, you miss it.
If you blink, you will literally
or you
miss
will
it.
be lost, like we were one year.
Really?
Yes.
How'd you?
I don't know. But we literally, I was ready to stop at somebody's house and say, "Can you please tell us which way?"
Really? Huh.
And we were in the minis.
Oh boy. Yeah.
There was 2 minis.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I spend half my time in Port Mansfield, so I get there with my eyes closed.
Yeah,
but one of my good coaching friends, he spent a lot of years at San Perlita. So when I was at the Star with the newspaper, I did a lot of San Perlita basketball. So that community, it's a very small community, a lot like St. Joe.
Very small.
I think if we were in UIL, we would probably be in their district because they're, I believe, I think they're a 1A these days. Because when I would cover them, they were always in 2A. I think they're 1A now these days, San Perlita. But small community, tight-knit community San Perlita is out there in Willacy County, and they pride themselves in athletics. And I know volleyball, they've had some pretty good years. I know when Griselda was there, I'm not sure who the coach is these days, but pretty good team to put on the schedule. A nice little small school matchup.
Yeah, they've always been competitive. We've played them forever, actually. I think since we started, high school. Well, it's been at least, I would say at least 6 years, maybe 6, 7 years that we've been playing San Perlita, and they've always been, pretty competitive. I remember, I think his name was Nate Garza.
Yep.
Was AD.
Yep.
Yeah, he's not there anymore.
No, he's actually, so Nate's the buddy I was referring to a minute ago. He's actually in San Benito now. He took the San Benito basketball job.
Oh, okay.
Right? And Griselda is now in Raymondville.
Yes, she moved to Raymondville because I think
she was here for the scrimmage.
Yeah, she was here for the scrimmage, and then we've got I think a couple of matches, freshman matches scheduled with Raymondville.
Okay.
We've got 2 when we were playing. I don't remember if it was TMI or something, and they only have JV varsity, so I scheduled a freshman match in there with Raymond. There's 2 matches that we have scheduled with them. So, but and I found out Coach Amaya is in Raymondville.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, ran into him at the airport coming back from Alabama.
Okay. Small world.
But yeah.
So what are you what are you looking forward to tomorrow in the match? I mean, it's still non-district. Like we said, still early in the year and still working on some things. But maybe what's one thing that you want to take from these practices into tomorrow's match?
I think mainly I would really like to see them focus on the couple of things that we've really been working on in practice, and it's going to be the defense, back row defense. I always tell them, front blockers are your first line of defense, and your defensive players are your second line of defense. So, if we can't get a touch, we can't get a block, and you got a good hitter, those back row people have to work really hard to keep that ball, in play. And so we've been focusing on that, and I would really like to see them put it into play tomorrow. And I think if we can do that, we've got the opportunity to, if we do get blocked, to get that second run at pass set hit. And when we played Jubilee, we had a few of those, which is what we want to accomplish there. But I'm gonna not really change the lineup a whole lot, but I need to see a couple of players in there that haven't really had much court time, and then I know it's still early, but these are the games that gives me the opportunity to see different people and different rotations and stuff.
Right.
And so that's mainly what I'm focusing on, because then we have that tournament, and then we've got those tough matches coming up. So I have to, and I tell them, well, am I going to start, or am I going to play, or am I going for something? And I tell them, I have to see you not in practice, because I know what you can do in practice. I have to see whether you can do it in a game. When it's a tight situation, when it's like you have to score, and Of course, some of them don't really understand. It's like, well, if I do it in practice, I should be able to do it in a game. Well, it's different. It's a little bit different. But I just want to see them be able to come together, fluidly, like not in spurts.
Right.
We do really well, and then we make a couple of errors, and then we do really well. And I know it's not ideal that you're going to have a perfect, game or set, but I'd rather not play, here.
Yeah.
And so if we can start eliminating those little errors like that make us go down when we're up here, I think it's going to be definitely a better, more what's the word? More time where the momentum stays consistent. And we've had moments where we've been real consistent, but then we've had moments where we make an error and then another error and another,
Yeah, like I always say, I was Lizette Esparza, she's the coach at PSG North. I ran into her at the Donna tournament. She goes, "How you guys looking?" I was like, "Well, I went 3-0 yesterday." And I said, "But for some reason we like to just play 5 sets." And her and her assistant just started laughing, and I said, No, it's true. Like last year, coach, we went like 5 out of the last 7 were in 5 sets, including the playoff game.
Yeah.
And I go, it's only fitting that the first game of the year we went to 5 sets.
Yep.
So I go, I don't know. It's just the team just likes to play 5 sets. They love to make it interesting for us.
But for like to give me a heart attack.
But for the most part, man, I'm gonna do my math. I want to say we were at least 5-2 last year in 5-set matches.
Oh yeah.
Like we were well over 500 so it's like, you know what, let's play 5 matches because we tend to win those.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But yeah, I mean we'll see how tomorrow goes, and hopefully the rest will have a good factor in that, and the kids will come back out hungry again. And the good thing is they're back here on their home court. So there's no travel, and there's no travel up until later in the week when we go down to Port Isabel. So shifting gears to the second half of the week, it's going to be the Port Isabel tournament. The Lady Bloodhounds are in Pool 6, and you're going to be going up against La Jolla, Raymondville, and San Isidro. So those are our 3 teams in our pool, and a lot more opportunity for this team to kind of just find its DNA early in the year. And it's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday tournament, but you guys are Friday and Saturday.
We're in the Friday pool, and of course that's an intentional thing because we're in school and it's just starting, and so I would rather go Friday, Saturday than have that break. And most of the time I ask the coaches, can you put me in that Friday pool? So but yeah, so the JV team will be in I think pool.
I'm getting the pools
7,
right here.
7, 8.
Pool 7. So the JV will be against PSJ Southwest, Freer, and Vanguard Rembrandt. If I'm saying that correctly. Pool 7.
Pool 7. Yeah.
Pool 7. So other teams that are in the tournament, you're looking at Lyford, Santa Rosa, Monte Alto, AC Jones. Is that Beeville Jones?
I want to say it's.
I think AC Jones. I think AC Jones. Yeah, that's Beeville Jones. Monte Alto, Harvest Christian, Lopez, Jubilee, La Sara, La Feria, Corpus Christi Miller, Idea Edinburgh, Hannah, San Perlita, Cueto, Rojando, Falfurrias, reading off the teams that are in the tournament.
Yeah.
PI the host, Brownsville Frontier, Idea Donna, Santa Maria, Progresso, Valley View, West Oso, Pace. So hopefully down the road we might see some teams that we really don't see, like the Freers of the world.
Yeah. It's a really good mix. I like. Yeah, I like that. There's they're not all just local teams.
Right.
So yeah, I saw that. When she asked me, I was like, well, yeah, I think this would be a good. We used to go to it every year, and then we switched. I switched, a couple of years, and then we're back. I think we were there last year too. I think. Were we there last year? No, we were in Hidalgo.
Hidalgo.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we were there the year before.
The year before, yes, the year before it was up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I like that there's a good mix, and she's got some like Pace was in that in the championship against Mission Vets and Donna.
Yep.
And Lopez, I don't know where they went, but they've got a pretty strong team also. Hannah, I haven't really seen Hannah yet, so I mean, you know, I threw my JV in there just because they needed, there was an open slot, you know, and she was kind enough to say
it's extra matches for them.
Bring them.
Is is Breedlove still the coach at PI?
No, it's Joanna Howard.
Okay.
The track coach.
Okay.
Yeah. Julie Breedlove went from there to Rio Hondo, and now she's gone. Her family has moved. I can't remember where they moved to, so I don't even think she's coaching anymore, which is kind of sad because I thought she was a really good coach.
Yeah, she did it.
She was great with the kids, man. The kids all loved her. They all loved her.
Absolutely.
So I don't really know.
I know Coach Smith hasn't been in San Isidro for a while, but I know when they had some teams, I know they would always be here at this tournament.
Yeah.
And when I would cover St. Joe, and I knew San Isidro St. Joe's always going to be a really good match.
Yeah, she had a really good. She really built a really good program there.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
And man, we had a tough time, and we had a tough time. They were great on defense. They were so scrappy. Yeah. You know, and I would be like, man, that's like, you know, that's what I want. I want y'all to be scrappy, you know. But yeah, she moved to.
I think she went to Rio Grande City.
Rio Grande City, because we played Rio Grande City, and she was there. That was the last time we played Rio Grande City. They didn't want to come play us in the Dome anymore.
Yes.
So we didn't even play. We haven't played Rio Grande City in a while.
Yep.
But yeah, I was.
Yeah, they had some squads.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
They did.
That 1 year, I think it was 21.
They had that girl, that blonde.
Well,
she was
Mia Alvarado.
Yeah.
That's Mario's daughter.
Oh, okay.
He was the superintendent there. Mario was, and they're a big volleyball family. Mia did travel or club ball and all that stuff.
Oh, okay. Well, that explains it.
Nicole Delgado was another one.
Yeah.
And then Emma Garcia was the libero.
So I think they went to. Did they go to state?
They went to the regional tournament. So that year they went to the regional tournament. St. Joe was playing Second Baptist. I think it was 21.
Yeah.
So the funny story there was that I had covered San Isidro throughout their year, and they went to George West, and they were playing Dehanis. And I think Dehanis was, for sure they were in the top 10 in the state.
Yeah,
and I take it back, they played in McMullen County. If you have any idea where that's at. It's Three Rivers. You go west all the way down to the blinking light, and then on that blinking light you pass Choke Canyon, maybe about a 45-minute drive from when you turn on 281 in Three Rivers down to that blinking light, and then you go about 15 minutes back south, and there's little teeny tiny McMullen County, a lot like San Perlita.
Yeah.
So Dehanis had beaten them in straight sets the year before in George West. The next year, they go down 2 sets to Dehanis, and it's like, well, same old song and dance. You know, San Isidro can't get over the hump, and it was their big 3. It was their senior year. Those girls come back and win in 5 sets.
5 sets, I remember that.
And that was still probably one of the crazier games I've ever seen, covered, called, you name it, because that was not supposed to happen and how they did it. But the funny story was that that was like on a Tuesday. Tino had already told me I was going with them on the football trip to Second Baptist in Houston.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm on the bus, right? It was before, I think it was a charter bus, and then the big bus still wasn't here yet. And I'm on the charter bus. We're on our way to Houston, and Mario calls me, hey, Kevin, I know it's late, but, you know, what are the chances you guys, you can follow us up here to the regional tournament? Like, we would really love to have you. And I was like, Coach, I would love to go, but St. Joe kind of already pulled me away. He's like, I knew it. I knew I should have called you earlier, man. But but they went up there and they had a really good showing. But for sure, San Isidro for sure has a good resume.
Definitely.
Again, another small school. They're a 2A as well. So they're San Isidro is the opposite side of San Perlita. On 281, you take a left.
And I don't remember if it was San Isidro or San Perlita. We were in 2 minibuses. And for whatever reason, when we went up there, I guess the bus hadn't been fueled up. And we were on, like, the fumes. We had left the school.
There's one gas station in San Isidro.
We were, like, when we left the school, I kid you not, I was basically telling the girls, get on your knees and start praying, because we're gonna have to be pushed. It was dark, it was late,
yeah.
and I don't remember who my assistant coach was, but we were both freaking out, nothing. You didn't even see a light, not a single star in the sky, and I was freaking out because I was like, oh my God, I've got all these girls, and we're gonna run out of gas. What are we gonna do? You know. And just by the grace of God, we were coming, and I said, "There's lights over there." I said, "Keep going, keep going. There's lights." And she said, "Well, it's not a gas." I said, "We're stopping," and it was some little store, and it was like they had a pump.
Yeah.
But I don't even remember what the store was. It was like a little Mexican store. They had a bunch of Mexican stuff.
Yeah.
They had the sombreros and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, the kids got there, and it was like I was like kissing the ground. I was like, no, this would not have been a good thing. But yeah, it was. I think it was. And I called the coach, and I said, "Is there anywhere where we can gas up?" And she said, "Coach, you should have told us, because we have I guess they have an area where they have pumps to fill up."
Well, they have they in San Isidro they have on campus living. So there's it's its own little community out there, you know. And I know because I was on a trip with Joe one time, and we were between here and we were going between here, I think, to Laredo, and we went that back way. And I said, hey, you better fill up on gas, because after San Isidro, there's Hebronville, and there's nothing after that. But I've been in that same